welcome back to the 13th Destiny podcast with Magnum. I'm your host, James Magnum Cook, and co-host Danielle Long is standing by out there in San Diego, California. Okay, folks, so we got a very interesting show today. We're going to be talking about alien abductions. But first, let's talk about the news. Okay, and it's related, the paranormal news actually is related to today's show. So, lightning reveals UFO incredible footage from Guatemala, Mexico. Can you imagine that? It's a lightning revealed here this past, I'll see what day it was. It was in the past couple of weeks. But anyway, so that's one of the big news stories, that lightning storm actually revealed some UFOs inside of the lightning. Now, that's an amazing thing considering what we're going to be talking about, alien abductions today. Some of the other news, if you'll give me just a minute. And I apologize if I had to step away here just a little bit, if it went down a little bit. I'm trying to find the other story I had. Okay, so here's another one. It's on the weirdnews.com this week. Execution rocks. You can spend a night in one of America's most haunted lighthouses. That's right, one of America's most haunted lighthouses. And I'm hoping you're hearing me okay, because everything seems to be good on the meter. And where that is at, if you're anything like me, you're always looking for an empty into your weird vacations. But after a while, the same haunts just don't deliver. If you've gone to haunted hotels, well, bump it up a little bit. And anyway, I'm going to let you go to weirdnews.com and check this out. So I'm going to let you guys out there check this out. But anyway, you can go to stay at the most haunted lighthouse in America. So go to weirdnews.com and check that out. I will include links this week. I made that mistake last week, didn't include the links. I've got some other links I'll be including this time on the show, something we haven't done in a while. Okay, so I'm just doing a brief thing on the news this week because I want to kind of dig into this. So the first story that I've got about alien abductions, and Danielle's going to be telling a couple stories. We're going to discuss this a little bit more in depth this week on the show, kind of changing the show up a little bit, trying to make it more interesting. Hope you like it. So anyway, Barney and Betty Hill, they were an interracial couple who claimed to have had experience of alien abduction back in 1961. They were driving back to their home in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, after a vacation when they noticed a strange object in the sky. They reported that the object appeared to follow their car, and they eventually stopped and observed it up close. According to their account, they saw humanoid figures inside the craft. Using binoculars, feeling frightened, they quickly got back into their car and drove away. Now, this is the however part. They soon realized that they had experienced a period of missing time, as their journey had taken them longer than expected. Additionally, they noticed physical and psychological symptoms following the encounter. Over time, the Hills began experiencing recurring nightmares and anxiety related to their encounter. Seeking answers, they decided to undergo hypnosis in 1964 to recover memories of what happened during their missing time. Under hypnosis, they separately recounted being taken aboard a craft and subjected to medical examination by non-human entities. Their description of the beings included details such as the large eyes, gray skin, and a lack of distinguishing features like noses or ears. The Hills story garnered significant media attention and became one of the most famous cases of alleged alien abduction. While their account has been scrutinized and analyzed by skeptics and believers alike, it remains a significant part of the UFO lore. The Hill abduction case has influenced popular culture and has contributed to the ongoing debate surrounding the existence of extraterrestrial life and the phenomena of alien abduction. So that's a short little story for me about the Hills. So what do you think about that, Danielle? We'll let Danielle take it away.
Hi, everyone. What I was wondering is what evidence did they have? Did it leave any trace evidence behind?
From everything that I have looked at, I don't think that they had trace evidence because they waited. I mean, they did do the initial report, but I don't see anything in the stories that I've been given so far that
there wasn't any marks on the car or
right.
anything on them.
Yeah. I think the biggest, obviously the biggest evidence, which this is happening with a lot of UFO stuff, is the missing time. And of course, that was found under the hypnosis that,
Didn't she write out some kind of star system?
Do what now?
Didn't she kind of write out some star system? They went into hypnosis.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that's when things started coming back to them?
Yes, that's correct. Yes. So it was all under hypnosis when everything started coming back. Obviously, they believed, from all accounts, they believed that they had taken their binoculars, looked into seen these beings, and then had went home. Basically, they thought they had run away from them from all indications, until they started having these recurring dreams, nightmares, various things, and also realizing that it took much longer. Like I said, the story that I have, it took much longer to get home. So they knew something wasn't right, but at that time period, that's the early years of alien and UFO stuff, and where it really started blossoming into the whole following of.
Do you find them credible?
Do what?
You find them credible?
I find them credible. I believe so. I don't think they would have any reason to make that up. And also under the hypnosis. Now, I'm not an expert in hypnosis, but I do know. Now I know you can be manipulated too. I know I have heard that you can go either way, but I don't think since they were done separately that it was anything like that, because that was my understanding from that is they were separated, kind of like where police separate people to make sure you get the right story, when you're doing your investigation. So that kind of gives me credibility that there's something that actually happened, because they both recounted pretty much spot on the same story and not being in the same room or under the same hypnosis. So that to me gives a lot of credibility to the story. What do you think on that? I mean.
I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
Right.
This happened in 19 what now?
61. And remember, this is an interracial couple at the time. So our times were a little different at that time. I mean, in 61, you still had a lot of, people that didn't agree, on a larger scale with interracial couples. So I don't think that they would be so willing to, take that risk back then, unless they knew something really was wrong, because they would be scrutinized right over that back in those days. It was slowly starting to change back then, but it wasn't quite where it is today, obviously. So, I don't have to go into all of that. I think we all know that. If you're old enough, if you're not, then you'll have to research that. But I think most people know. So I find that credible for a couple of different reasons. I don't think that they would take that risk to go and do all this if they didn't really believe that something had happened. And obviously, under the hypnosis,
they believe that. That's the thing. They believe something happened.
Yeah, they absolutely.
Did it happen?
Yeah, they absolutely believed it happened.
I'm kind of playing devil's advocate, just trying to, I have a hard time. The things that have come out with the government, showing the videos and things, and the recent hearings and stuff, I've always, since I was a kid, was fascinated with UFOs. Just completely fascinated, read books, and but I don't know if I completely, totally believed in them. And it was kind of a shocker to me when we were shown the video of the Tic Tac video by the government, and I'm just like, oh, wait a minute, everything I was thinking maybe is true, and I was like, wow.
All right.
I'm even a fan of the show Ancient Aliens. Have you ever watched that?
That one I have never watched, actually. I'll be honest, I've not watched it. I'll have to watch it. Sounds good.
I watched it. I'll probably watch it with all of those. Interesting. The thing I have with Alien abduction. It just, I don't feel there's
Well,
any
now,
evidence
now not everybody knows
that.
your background, but I think I might, if you're okay with this, I will say something. Um, I think because of the medical examinations and stuff, and I know that you had been a nurse. Do you find that kind of like, why is it like the medical examinations of the humans and stuff when we're talking about the alien abductions so much? Why? I mean, because from all indications, they're never really hurt. So it doesn't, or I mean, from everything I've understood from this, so it's not like they're trying to hurt the humans. So why are they doing this? If this is the alien abduction, why are you doing the medical examinations? That's the weird thing. I don't know.
Some say harvesting the eggs, making hybrids, that
Right.
kind of stuff.
All right. I've heard that possibility of hybrid humans and stuff. So
Yes, that, there's aliens walking among us that are hybrids. What do you think about that?
well, okay. Well, I'll tell you what I think about it. Well, there are a lot of people walking among us that sometimes it's hard to explain how they're able to do certain things compared to other people. Are they really that smart, or is it something more sinister that we don't know about, like the hybrid humans? Or, you know, can you really tell? And, that's the thing. Now, does the government know something? Let's go back to the government on that one. Do they know something? Obviously, they've released some stuff, but they've not. I don't think we've barely had a full, total disclosure as of yet. Uh, and I think there's some reasons for that. Possibly, maybe they're really concerned about what the overall reaction will be, considering reactions to other things that we've seen in history here recently. What would that? What would
Well,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, what would that reaction be?
Well, yeah, I don't know. Have you ever heard of Dr. Stephen Greer?
Yes, I have.
Yes, he goes into how there's that the government, like the presidents and your regular government, doesn't really know. It's kept in the dark about everything, and that there's this secret, black ops, secret top, like a government within a government.
Oh,
And
well,
that are reverse engineering. They're flying around. They've already flown around, and they have craft that are flying around. You know, it's anything's possible.
right. Anything is possible.
And this is what kind of makes me think it's possible. Here's a story I have. Another well-known story, and this story is called the Cash Landrum Incident, which occurred in Texas in 1980. This case is unique as it involved not just the alleged abductees, Betty Cash and Vicki Landrum, but also a significant number of witnesses who also saw the UFO. On the evening of December 29th, 1980, Betty Cash, Vicki Landrum, and Vicki's 7-year-old grandson, Colby, were driving near Huffman, Texas. As they rounded a bend, they encountered a massive diamond-shaped UFO hovering above the road. The object emitted a tremendous amount of heat and was accompanied by a deafening roar. Frightened by what they were witnessing, the three of them exited the car to get a better look at the strange craft. Betty Cash and Vicki Landrum claimed to have experienced intense heat and suffered burns from the encounter, while young Colby Landrum was also visibly affected. After the encounter, they returned to their car and continued driving, but they reported seeing numerous military helicopters hovering on the UFO. Estimates of the number of helicopters ranged from 23 to over, 200 maybe? I don't know. Depending on the source, the helicopters surrounded the object and then escorted it away. All three individuals experienced health issues in the following days from the incident, including nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and hair loss, which they attributed to the close encounter with the UFO. The Cash Lantern incident gained national attention and raised questions about military involvement in UFO cases. The witnesses filed a lawsuit against the U.S. government, claiming they suffered physical harm due to the military pursuit of UFO. However, the lawsuit was dismissed. The case remains one of the most significant controversial UFO encounters, as it involved multiple witnesses and physical evidence. While skeptics have suggested various explanations for the incident, it continues to be a subject of fascination and debate within the UFO community. That is very interesting because they all got sick.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking that it's very possible that might have been a reverse engineered craft.
That's very possible. And it's interesting, those symptoms.
Because most of those UFOs that you see that we've heard about don't have radiation leaking out of them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Major sickness to people.
Yeah. And that sounds like radiation sickness.
Right?
Yeah, that sounds like radiation sickness. That's exactly what that's...
They suffered bad. I'm pretty sure it was some kind of where they lost their hair, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea,
Right.
It kind of really sounds like they got a really bad sickness from it.
Right.
It could be radiation. It could be, I don't know, nuclear stuff.
Right.
It could be whatever they, used to fly this thing around. But how interesting, though, you have the other part of the government where you have this UFO come down and then the government helicopters escorting it.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So what happened, right?
Yeah, where did the helicopters take the craft? What was the craft? What was going on there? And it's very interesting that they all got sick, and yet, I mean, obviously, it's very hard to sue the government. We all know that. But being dismissed, it sounded like it was dismissed very quickly, and that's fascinating too. I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to make out so all these people who all suffered something from this, they were all kooks. Is that what you're trying to say, right? Well, it's kind of weird. You got physical evidence here of them being sick. Now, obviously, that sounded like very much like radiation poisoning or like chemo does to you, stuff like that. So there had to be some kind of radiation in that area. So what exactly did happen there? That's and like you said, it's very controversial there. But what happened? I mean, it would be very interesting. I think we'll go back to this just real quick, and then I'll let you finish. I think that's maybe another reason that the government is very careful about what they release and because they're scared. Maybe they are. Like the government's really scared of us. But anyway, who knows? I don't know, maybe they are. But maybe they're scared of the overall reaction if they release something and it's like, okay, well, you knew all this and you let these people get sick and then it just becomes a big chaotic situation. Yeah, now that's where I could see where the government would be very concerned. Like, okay, well, we were kind of covering this up, but but now we're trying to tell you the truth, but we didn't know what the reaction was. And that may be the very reason they're not telling as much as we would really like to know. I think most of us, however, don't feel like we're just going to up and like, okay, we're going to, try to go after the government because, you didn't tell us all this stuff. That's just, I know there's going to be a certain amount of the population that will go crazy over it, obviously. But I don't think most of the people who follow the UFO stuff and would just like to know, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to have this massive panic like some people have even portrayed in some movies and stuff. I just don't see that. I think that's a very minute population here in America and other places around the world that would even go to that extreme. And and when I say minute, I'm saying probably less than 1% or 2 would go to that extreme. That's just my opinion, though, of course. What do you think?
Yes, I just think this one seems a little more credible.
Yeah, because of the physical evidence.
There's so much physical. There's more than one eyewitness. It wasn't like it was them on a lonely road, and there's other people that witnessed the UFO.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so many witnesses, so many sightings, so many. It's hard for me to believe that they're not real. Like there's not something to all this.
Well, I believe that. I believe just like we were talking about Bigfoot on our last episode. I believe there's always something.
It's the same thing with the big. Yes.
Yeah.
The same thing with last week's Bigfoot.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
There's really no evidence of Bigfoot. Where do they bury their dead? Where's their homes and stuff? Are they blinking in and out of this reality? Are they partially in this one?
Yeah. And it's so
partially out. And same with the UFOs.
Exactly.
Are they partially here? They can blink in and out. I don't know. It's just.
I've got some other.
It's very fascinating, interesting subject.
It is very interesting.
UFOs. It has always fascinated me.
Yeah, I've been kind of fascinated with most of my life too. And of course, I think you and I both like science fiction as well. One of the weirdest things I think I ever saw about someone talking about UFOs, and you're talking about in and out, was that if they weren't just aliens from another planet, was it possible and feasible that this was advanced into the future, something that we know nothing about, and travel back? So that's something too that I had seen. However, I think it's more feasible that they are, if the reality would be more feasible to be alien from some other planet. And I don't, and of course, I don't get into super religious things or politics. Try to avoid these two things as much as possible on the show. But however, regardless of what you believe, there is a creation of something. And to believe that there couldn't be another, it would be kind of closed-minded to believe that there's nothing else out there, nowhere. I mean, these universes are massive. We've got enough evidence of that. We're talking massive billions of light years and stuff, and we've been able to finally see things. We've been able to pick things up. There's got to be something more that this is obviously the stuff that's been released to us. Obviously stuff, when like your NASA or your telescopes and things that they have released to us. The question being for me would be, what are you not releasing? Because the universe is massive. And there is a lot of planets out there. Whether or not they're telling us whether or not there's really actually life on one or not, that's another story. However, they are massive. Okay, so I'm just going. This is my opinion. So, as more and more countries, and there are more countries than just us that have dived into space, if there's something really out there and everything, how are you going to cover this up to an entire world? And when you have multiple countries that will have craft in space, at some point that's going to be very difficult to cover up. If that reality is what we're talking about, if it's actually UFOs and someone from another planet, so I don't think that if this is 100%. And remember, we're for entertainment purposes only, but we do have in-depth discussions of now. That's what we're working on about various subjects. So if this is reality of something out there, how do you? I mean, look how hard it is. I mean, there's been cover-ups all over the world for stuff. But things always get exposed somewhere or another, sooner or later. Some people will dismiss them. Some people. But if there's beings out there, and let's just do a hypothetical. Let's just go with the 3 countries that I know that have space technology that, for the most part. Let's just go with those 3 countries that we know of: United States, Russia, and China. Now, are you going to be able to hide just from those countries alone that kind of information? I really don't think that can be completely covered up with the technology as we keep going forward. And one person involved with the space stuff. Obviously, I don't believe that he would cover that up. I believe he would release it in a heartbeat. So I kind of wonder, unless his contracts. I think we all know who I'm talking about. Unless his contracts with NASA and stuff has some kind of weird thing in there that he couldn't, like non-disclosure stuff. But we don't know what his contracts have on, obviously. So what do you think of that?
Very interesting. Yeah, very possible. Well, I have another story. Do you want to hear another?
I absolutely want to hear another story. I'm sure the fans and followers and stuff, oh, by the way, just a real quick thank you to the ones that have recently joined us, and we are trying to improve the show more, and I do appreciate the older fans as well. But thank you for the new people that are following us. And now let's let Danielle tell her other story. All right, Danielle, go ahead.
One of my favorite ones, and is the Travis Walton story. It's the Travis Walton abduction. It occurred in 1975 in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest in Arizona, USA. Travis Walton, a 22-year-old forestry worker, and his crew were working in the forest when they encountered an unidentified flying object. While driving home after work, they saw a bright light in the sky and approached it for a closer look. Walton exited the vehicle and approached the object. He got closer to the UFO. A beam of light shot out from the craft, striking Travis and knocking him to the ground. In a state of panic, his co-workers fled the scene, leaving Travis behind. When they returned a short time later, they found no sign of Travis or the UFO. The crew reported his disappearance to the local authorities, leading to an extensive search operation. The initial assumption was Travis had been murdered or had met with some accident. 5 days later, Travis Walton reappeared, confused and disoriented, near a gas station in Herbert, Arizona. He had no memory of the intervening days and was wearing the same clothes as when he disappeared. He recounted a story of being abducted by the occupants of the UFO, which he described as small, hairless beings with large black eyes. Under hypnosis, Travis detailed his experiences aboard the craft where he underwent medical examinations and communication with the beings. His story, along with corroborating statements from his co-workers who had witnessed his initial abduction, led to the extensive media coverage and further investigation. Travis Walton's case is often cited as one of the most compelling abduction stories due to multiple eyewitnesses and the significant media attention it received. It was also the basis for the 1993 movie Fire in the Sky. Skeptics have offered alternative explanations, but the case remains a topic of interest and debate within the realm of UFO and abduction phenomena. That I think I went to the theater and saw that back in the day. Saw the movie?
Yeah, I saw Far in the Sky too. Far in the Sky is a very good movie, actually.
Fire in the Sky?
Yeah, Far in the Sky is very
good.
I was
like, wow, I was fascinated with it. And I think it's really hard not to believe these guys. They had lie detectors.
Exactly.
Done,
exactly.
And they passed, and I just find it's just like one of my favorite cases because all of them are saying the same thing, and all of them, yeah. And he was gone. He disappeared. So, a lot of people say that, well, they struck him with a beam of light. Maybe he was struck with a light and he was hurt. And so they took him back in the craft, I've heard this, to help him get better.
Yeah, that's possible.
And they said also that they said the Fire in the Sky, the movie wasn't quite like the story. I mean,
Right.
it was similar, but not
Right.
exactly like it.
Yeah. It was a good movie,
And I've
but
watched
yeah.
Travis Walton documentaries. You guys can try and find those. He's very open to this day. He's talked about it.
Yes.
It's still all these years later. He still talks about it.
Yeah, he's never ever wavered from his story at all. I mean, it's spot on with Travis. But the movie, obviously, just like any production on movies, whether it comes from books, whether it comes from real life. Of course, I have a background in this, and obviously, movies are never 100% accurate with real life stuff. I think I find it funny sometimes that people just, if they only see the movie first, and don't know the whole background, they just and don't check into it. They just assume, well, that's the way everything was, and that's the way it went down. But if you look closely, most films will tell you like things are based on a real life situation, or these are, or even like when they fictionalize something, they'll even tell you based on certain events. You have to pay attention to that, and unfortunately, a lot of people, unlike you and me, who actually look at that stuff, a lot of people don't always look at that, and they get this, which, I mean, obviously he got paid for the movie. Obviously, I'm sure on that. I'm pretty sure about that. But they always make changes and stuff to try to sell the movie. I mean, that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it's unfortunate when you're talking about something like this, because we already have so many issues with trying to get the truth out of what the truth is. But then again, I mean, the movie was a good movie. It was entertaining, but it absolutely was not 100% accurate to the story that Travis tells. So you have to go and watch these, like you said, the documentaries and stuff that was done beyond the movie. Now, if you just want to watch an entertaining movie, yeah, it's just kind of scary in a way, but it's also kind of entertaining. So yeah, I get that.
That's the thing, the scariness. I have, okay, so I'm going to go back to Dr. Greer, because he's saying that all the aliens, they seem to be nice aliens, and if they wanted to hurt us, they would have hurt us. And then you have another group saying, no, I don't think they're all good. Travis Walton, I mean, I don't know if it's some agreement that our government made that they could abduct people.
That's interesting. I've never thought about that.
Right. I'm just not. I don't know if it's our own people abducting them.
Well, okay.
Because I've heard that they have seen some humans on board.
Mm-hmm.
The procedures that they have done are kind of can be painful.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's dangerous when they just appear out of nowhere,
mm-hmm.
and they're tailing our aircraft in the sky. I think that's dangerous.
Right.
They're over our nuclear sites. Okay, just like, maybe I'm putting my own, what I see in the world onto the aliens.
Right.
But I wouldn't think, just because they haven't totally come down and obliterated, just like got rid of us or done really mean stuff to us, that there's not good and bad ones. So that's the only little area with Dr. Greer I just kind of don't quite agree that all of them are benevolent.
Right.
It's just kind of hard. Just like human beings, not all of them are benevolent, right?
Exactly. So how could you not possibly have evil? ones. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see, but like you said, it hasn't been a massive destruction. So, uh, are there? Oh, this now that might be a more interesting question. Are there multiple races of aliens? Huh? Huh? That's interesting. When you think about it like that. Yeah, I'm much more open minded than most people probably.
I am personally more open minded to there are UFOs, but I'm not as open minded to tons and tons of abductions. I just, they're taken through, like, they're lying in bed and they're taken through the wall, type thing,
Yeah.
and out of their house. It's really, that's hard. But see, then again, it hasn't happened to me, so I'm going to say I don't know, like,
Right.
but I'm open-minded enough.
Well,
These ones like Betty and Barney Hill, the ones that we have talked about today, seem to be, well, maybe that did really happen.
well,
That's sort of how I feel about it.
well,
What do you feel about it?
well, okay. Well, here I haven't either. I haven't been either. Obviously, I'd be probably in shock if something like that happened. However, now I think maybe one of the reasons. Now that I kind of stay in a pretty remote location. A lot of times, it's very dark. And if I don't turn certain things on, but that's just where I happen to stay sometimes, and I mean, it's in the country, but I'm near a major metropolitan city. So is that the reason? Because you'd think since sometimes I'm here alone, but I don't live that far from somebody. I mean, I got people that take care of things here, and they do come and go. But the weird thing is, I mean, sometimes I am here alone for a while. And these stories that you hear are, unless they're a couple or something, a lot of times you hear about, out in the wilderness kind of thing, and they were abducted, or if they did have a house, it wasn't near people. So I don't know. I just think it's possible, but what is the reality of this? And I got fascinated. I got so fascinated when you said, sorry, is the government involved in possibly allowing this? That's even more. I don't want to say it's sinister. I find it more fascinating that that's the case, because our government, personally ours, sometimes has a hard time keeping its mouth shut when it needs to, right? And other times it don't. But it's kind of funny. I was like, because there's always someone that's there's always someone, no matter what you do, they leak something. And how this has not gotten more coverage, is a beyond me. I guess because there's so much other stuff going on. But it's just, and again, I try not to talk politics, but it's just funny. It's just funny to me when you say that. It's just like, is that possible? Then again, though, there's so much other stuff that goes on. Yeah, I guess that's possible. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
I mean. And again, I'm not someone here who sits here and complains about everything under the sun, so it's not like that. But I do find it. I would find it extremely interesting. I guess more interesting than fascinating. Just well, that was a new spin. Didn't see that one coming. But yeah,
Right.
but I think there's a lot of things. I think there's a lot of things that you and me and other people just don't know. And we don't have that. I mean, there's so much stuff out here, and I just can't buy into. Okay, so for one reason, I can't buy into that people are just making up stories because you can make up stories all day long, and they're really good stories. You can make them in books, you can have them make movies. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there, but to make up a story and have yourself put on the spotlight that you were abducted by aliens, I really find that hard to believe. What's your end game in that if you were just making that up? I find it hard to believe that. Now, you find it hard to believe that there's that many. I just find it hard to believe that somebody wants to make that up. Now, maybe some people are just trying to get attention, just like all other things. There's certain people who do hoaxes. Also, we'll go back to our Bigfoot story from last week. There are people who do hoaxes. We know that. And there are people who've done hoaxes with UFO, but those have always been able to be exposed fairly quickly. My question is, why are all these ones that have so much evidence that have not been exposed as hoaxes? You've not exposed them as hoaxes. You're not saying they're hoaxes. So, but the ones that really are hoaxes, you're very quick on the gun with that one. You're very quick to get that done. That that's a hoax, and we can prove this is a hoax. We can prove that this. But there's a lot that haven't been. So there's a lot of questions when you talk about the UFO stuff. And someone said, "Oh, well, all of it's a hoax." Well, if it's all a hoax, well, some of them are doing an extremely good job. If that were the case, and then why would just go back to your story about the helicopters and the people who were exposed to obviously stuff that comes across as radiation sickness or stuff that you have when you have chemo. Let's go back to that, because if that's the case, then why would the government? I mean that's helicopters from. Why would they do that? There's no point in that for them. I mean, there's no real good end game with that for them. It would be much better. Again, my personal opinion, it would be much better to eventually say this is what was going on, and this is now what, and there are some beings, and we are now going to let you know. Again, however, real quick before I let you finish on your end, there is that small part of the population that could just escalate into some craziness. But we deal with that every day. So I don't know how that's any worse than anything else. And 99% of the time, most things can be controlled to a level. At some point, yeah, you can get a little chaotic, you get a little out of hand for a while, but most all that gets pretty quickly, stopped. I don't see where that's going to be a massive problem. Then again, I'm not sitting in some, government agency or something. And then back to the other part, is there more than one level? And we don't know everything. And there's reasons we don't know everything. But I think that at some point, yeah, if you keep having this many exposures to things, you're going to have to tell something, and a little bit more than what's been disclosed in recent history. But these are some of my personal opinions. So what do you think?
I find it interesting how some of these abductees, it starts when they're children, and they're just abducted over and over and over in their lifetime, and that just, for me, would not be a fun thing.
Yeah, that's going
on, and that's harder for me to understand. It really is.
Right.
Why they would come for this one person, and sometimes they say it runs in families or something, but that to be abducted over and over.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. And with the UFO subject, anything's possible. Yeah. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just harder for me to believe that someone's abducted over and over and over and over and over. But it's possible. I'm not saying it's not. But I find it very interesting.
Yeah. Have you ever watched the Stargate series, the SG-1 one?
No.
Okay, well, I hadn't watched the other movie, so we're going to have to get it. An interesting thing about Stargate SG-1, every episode was approved by the United States Air Force. They had people to approve the episodes. A lot of people don't know, and the General of the Air Force at one time actually appeared on the show. But they had a lot of stuff in that show about the aliens, like being Asgard, and all this stuff. I won't go into a lot of details. But that show, I find it fascinating that show brought in the gray aliens and saying that this was they were the Asgard. That's what they called them and stuff and everything. And they had this Viking connection kind of thing to when the more primitive humans further back. It's just fascinating to me that the Air Force itself was approving the scripts and looking at the scripts before they let them go to production. That is amazing to me because, that is a fictional show, but you have an actual government agency the United States Air Force, military, approving the episodes. And that is fact. That is absolutely fact. And there was a lot of stuff about the great aliens in there, and of course they skewed it this certain way and everything. And there was even the one about, like what we were talking about, maybe the evil one, and there was one episode where that, or one or two maybe episodes where that was brought into play. So, do you find that? Well, I'm bringing this up since you said you never watched the show, but do you find that amazing that our Air Force was approving scripts for a fictional show before they went to production? Why do you think the Air Force had to approve the scripts if, were they worried about something that maybe was going to be exposed just by that? Or did they want it to be skewed a certain way? You gotta wonder about that. Anyway, that's just thought provoking. Yeah. Okay, Danielle, you still there with me? I know you're there somewhere. Danielle, are you with me? Danielle, did we lose you?
We can go. I could go on and on with a bunch of stories.
Do you have another story? Hold on. Let's see how long the show's been today.
There's so many. There's so many stories out there. All you have to do is go look it up or go to YouTube.
Yeah.
I just the more well-known cases I like to brought up because there seems to be more than one eyewitness and maybe some evidence, that type of thing,
right,
about the abduction. But I'm finished giving stories.
Well, the good news is it looks like
if anybody has a good story, that would be nice.
Well, that'd be great.
They could tell us.
Yeah, there's a way to send that to me on the 13th Destiny podcast on the Spotify, and I'm going to be looking at getting a regular email just for the show here soon. Probably get a Gmail for that for the show, just strictly for the show, so we can just start taking email from the listeners and fans and stuff and everything directly, maybe about weekly basis. So I'll try to get that done here soon. But it looks like we've got almost an hour-long show today. That's pretty cool. We've got almost an hour-long show today. I've got a couple of things I'll do here at the end, and thank everybody real quick before we let Danielle sign off and play the music to play out for the finish of the show. But me and Danielle would love to hear anything you have to say or talk about the show. We hope you enjoyed the show today. And Danielle, you want to say goodbye before I do the music?
Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching. Follow us, subscribe. So I'm sure we'll get better and better the more we learn how to do this.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
And thank you, Danielle, for being here today. Thank you.